Welcome in, everyone. Today is 1/21/24, and we're going to go over some unusual whales flow and charts and kind of go over a couple trade ideas. So let's get started here. First, we're going to start with the flow alerts and then kind of move over to the flow feeds. And for those who are newer to following me, I do have some videos on the filters and how I pull the flow alerts, which I already pulled them to save time in the video, but I do have those videos available for those that want to learn more. So today we have three tickers we're gonna go over. We have pins, Airbnb, and Zim. So let's get started here. Pins will be up first. So Pinterest up first. And of course I mess up right away. So here's our pins. So our pins flow alert, we have repeated hits on the 21640 call, 700 contracts traded at 86K in total premium. Can come right here. Here is your whale. See all the contracts bought there. Like to come here and take a peek at the volume. So these came in right before close. We had some bid side stuff before. Obviously, that was most of that today, and it looks like that may have been somebody opening a position, unless if we go out a little further. A little harder to tell there with that one, but we this is that whale here, so you can see that ask side 700 contracts at 87,000 for the premium. So a good tip, what I'd like to do, obviously check that volume to open interest, see how much of that carries over. You can check that in the morning here on Unusual Whales, or if you want to pull up the contract on your brokerage. So that is our flow alert for pins. Now let's look at the overall flow here. So and what I like to do with the filters, obviously you want to adjust them. There's different market caps for different companies, so kind of have to size around and mess around with this. So let's take a peek here. So 5,000. There's not a lot of flow here for Pinterest, obviously. Here's that flow alert. Another flow alert here on the 2939 call. A lot of bid side stuff, so keep that in mind. Let's see. Yeah, I have a lot of bid side stuff. Some sweet puts there coming in. Let's see. So, yep. So this is a nice thing that Unusual Whales has, is they'll always put these little indicators on here. You can always just scroll over to, and it'll give you a description of that. But it looks like, and easy to see here, so that volume is greater than the open interest. So these are opening contracts. 121 contracts traded. There was only 103 open interest on that. 10 open interest on that. 81 contracts traded here. Obviously, these are deeper in the money. Or, well, this one's deeper in the money, but so I would say this flow feed's a little more mixed, bearish on here. Let's take a peek at the chart now as well. So I'm on the weekly time frame here, and just a little quick look here. Obviously, we're coming along here in the channel here, and we are coming into a previous supply zone. So supply zone obviously drop. This one turned into support there, came up, failed here, and went back down. I do like this spot though, because here is your trend line on the weekly uptrend. We're sitting right there, and this would be that prior supply support zone, or well, it'd be demand now if we go up, supply if we drop down. So this is a good spot for Pinterest, obviously. I hate to say like puts, calls, whatever, but obviously we're gonna see probably a bigger move here, since this is going to be a good test here. Obviously we're probably break below or go back up, and we kind of have the flow there to help. Kind of looking at the volume here, obviously over the last couple of weeks, and again weekly chart here, little higher uptick on volume here. buying volume. These 2 weeks in here, it looks like a little lower, lighter selling volume. You can always drill down to the day here too as well, just to kind of get a better picture of the volume. So yeah, you can see that little lighter volume on the bottom here on these red days. Little lighter volume, but we're getting good volume on these green days, above average. So keep that in mind. And obviously we have earnings in 11 days. Keep that in mind as well. So what I would like to do here, I would like to open, or I'd look to open a position here at the retest of this uptrend here, which is roughly, let's say 36.45 here. So about 36.45, and let's take a peek at the contracts, some good contracts here. So I am looking at Pinterest options, and these were looking at the 219. So I don't like playing earnings because earnings are a huge gamble. Then you have the Ivy crush, but let's look at those 219 contracts anyways. Let's see, or it'd be 216. I think they were 216s. 216, yep. So 216 here. So obviously we have good open interest here, and if that entry is at 36.45, obviously you want a good delta to theta here. Obviously, always come in here, look at that delta. So every dollar that Pinterest would move, this would add 55 cents onto the contract. So this would be 280. You have light theta here, about 3 cents a day. So that's good. So if our entry is 36.45, could always target the 36, 37, 38 call here. Obviously, I like at least a 30 on delta, just so you can get that movement. You don't want to get something way out here, like you look at the 44, a 15 delta. You need a pretty big move to get a significant return. So that is that one. So the idea for this one, I'd like to open that position at the retest of the uptrend at 36.45. The 216 chains have good open interest. I'd target either the 36, 37, 38 call, and this idea would be valid until 123. So this would be good until Tuesday. Just with earnings coming up, we don't want to get caught in earnings. So, and risk would be 20% for me. Risk is usually always 20% for me on swing ideas. So up next is Airbnb. Let's go back over to the flow. So Airbnb, we have short-term flow alert here on the 126, 143 call, 102K in total premium. This is out of the monies too for a weekly, so that is interesting to me. Pull this up, you can see the whales here where they came in, or the whale, sorry. Now let's look at here in 14:55, 5 minutes before close. Nice clean flow here. Mostly ask side, bid side. Come down here. Let's take a peek. So not a lot of multi-legs, and you can always check that up here too. You can always filter this out too if you don't want certain things on here. It's a nice way to adjust how you want it. I just keep everything on there just so I can see everything. I like to dig through the data. So here's your whale entry on Airbnb. Now let's pull up the overall flow feed. So Airbnb. And Airbnb had a good day on Friday, it looks like. So let's see. I'm going to start at 15,000 for this one. So, okay. Bump down a little bit. Let's do 10,000. So yeah, seeing a lot of bid side calls, which doesn't surprise me with obviously Airbnb being up 2%, probably people taking positions, or it looks like we have some opening positions here as well. So this flow feed to me, obviously here's our flow alert as well, the little short-term flow. A lot of this flow seems to be more longer term, and this flow alert here on the puts here 54 days out, and they're pretty close to the money, so a little longer term though, so that doesn't concern me for a short-term move. So yeah, this flow feed I would say is a little more bearish, obviously. So let's pull up the chart now. Airbnb. I'm gonna keep this on the daily since it's short-term view. And obviously I did all the charting before to save everybody time, but here's our Airbnb. Obviously we're testing the uptrend, the long-term uptrend back to February of 2021. And we are also, or downtrend back to February 2021, sorry. This is our uptrend back to December of 2022, so this is a huge spot on the chart. Obviously you can see we're sitting right in here. Volume's a little lighter right now, about average volume on there, but this is our big spot here actually. And so let's look at contracts now. So Airbnb, this one, it's a little lighter on open interest, so I'm not going to call out a specific contract just because I don't want to give it out and have somebody get pumped on or dumped on. So keep this in mind. Let's see what we have on 12 days out. Yeah, there's not a lot of open interest on here, and I'm looking for a short-term move on here, so I'm not going to give a specific contract, but these 5-day or the weeklies, one of these could work. Obviously, I would probably lean to the higher open interest ones. Sorry, I had a text message I had to get there. So weekly here, I would obviously look for something with probably the most open interest. And again, obviously keep in mind that delta to theta. So my trade idea here is, let's come back to the chart. I would look for a momentum entry here. So I like a break here. Where is our, so it looks like, what do we got there? So about 140.34-ish. That'd give us that break there. So I'd take this as a momentum entry with a break above. Obviously, like I said, this is going to be a big spot on the chart. So we're going to look for a move up or that move down with the breaks of these trends. So since it's a short-term contract too, I'd like this as a momentum entry with a break above 140.34. So obviously flow alert was short-term, so I'd treat this as a day trade as well with the other bearish flow. So with day trades, I obviously like 10% stops. So, and this idea would just be valid for Monday. So 122 would be my idea since short-term flow, unless obviously we have a big gap up or something. So moving on to our last one, which is Zim. And this is a very interesting one because this is a shipping company, and we have geopolitical issues going on right now with the Red Sea, so keep that in mind as well. But here are our repeated hits flow alerts. Obviously, good premium, good size, about 12% out of the money, so that is pretty unusual to me, especially with that premium. So let's look at the contracts here. So we got 1248, 1249, 1253, and 1302, and I'm Central Time. So here are our whales right here. So all three whales coming in here. You can see the times. Not multi-leg at all. And obviously you can see how much of that volume is going to carry over in the morning. And that's one thing I really like about unusual whales. You can just easily come back here, check, and it's going to tell you in the morning how much carried over versus trying to sit there and count and calculate. But would assume most of this is going to carry over. Obviously not seeing a lot of volume after that. So let's look at that overall flow feed here. So Zim, bump this down because there's not a lot on this one. So 5,000, and yeah, this is very bullish. So obviously 54 days out, seeing more calls 54 days out here. Somebody buying to open a position, and that's an in-money one. So yeah, this is pretty bullish flow here as well. Somebody got a short-term flow alert here right around open. But yeah, this flow is mainly bullish. So let's look, and kind of like I said with the macro factor on this too, Red Sea, and there's geopolitical issues going on over there with hijacking. So very, very careful with a trade idea like this. But let's look at the chart now on Zim. So again, we are looking at, let's start with the week since they're monthlies. And again, obviously you can see here's where we IPO'd. We're in that area. Let me bump back down. Actually, let's start here. So obviously you can see where before the issues we had big buying volume there off the uptrend going back to November of 2023. So good buying volume, a little lighter selling volume there. A little heavier selling volume, but let's take a peek at this candle. This is a very important candle because we're seeing a lot of volume here, but it's not the best looking candle. So let me pull this back up. So this would probably, so yeah, that's a nasty candle there. This was probably more when the news kind of came out, and you can always come here and take a peek at the news. Maybe it's not going to work for me, of course. There we go. So yeah, kind of just some other news in here, and I actually seen that on Webull with the news. But so here's our day chart. We're going back to the day chart. Obviously, you can see where you have a demand zone here coming up, demand zone, support zone, whatever you want to call it. Up, we failed there, went up there. Looks like we're going to retest it here as well. So with this one, and this is a very slow mover, I tend to stay away from these really, really slow movers unless I can get a really good discounted entry. Just, you can really, I mean, you can see an 85-cent move on the stock is a 6% move, which is pretty big, and you can really get stopped out on just a quick move like that. So I would look to open a position at the retest of the uptrend. So we got about 1233 here. Looks like we'd probably hit about 1233, and I'm gonna pull it up here as well. So here's our, yeah, we got good support there. Good support, support. And this is the 4-hour chart on Webull, actually. And this is where I actually see the news travel. I kind of go back to here. Obviously, shipping stocks, issues with Red Sea disruption, etc. So keep that in mind, like I said. But back to the 4-hour chart. Obviously, good support here. Good support here. Supported there. Looks like we're going to retest it there. 4-hour chart, obviously not seeing as much volume as this candle here, but we had big buying volume here before we were having some issues. So I like this entry at about 1233. Looks like that would give us the uptrend test there. And let's look at the contracts. So they had the 216s, I believe. 216.15 calls. 16. So with this one, if we're waiting for a pullback to that 1233 area, I would go with that 12.5 call there. Good open interest. Again, you get that high delta, not a lot of theta, and risk would be 20% on here for me. And this idea would be valid until 124 for me, so Wednesday. This, or obviously if there's any significant developments with geopolitical issues, etc., or if we make a move. So I kind of keep that. That's kind of for all my swing ideas. Just I like to, if it makes a move in my direction, like a significant move, it's done. So I mean, you make a 3% move and we pull back, you're not going to hop back in. It made its move. So, but that is all. So we only had 3 for this week. There wasn't a lot of flow going into the weekend that I liked, and we do have a big earnings week coming up as well. So obviously, going to be very selective on swings because we don't want to get caught and stuff like that. But otherwise, that's all I have. And if you are interested in trying unusual whales, very easy platform to learn as well. So I do have a referral code. I will drop that in the description below. And if you do want to learn more, I try to do about 2 or 3 of these videos a week in my private Discord group, which is $19 a month, very affordable. Otherwise, yeah, I'll have both links below. Hope everybody had a great weekend, and be smart, trade smart, and always respect your stops. Have a great weekend, everyone.